Okay, so like I said, we've got some really good questions tonight, so I want to get started just so that we don't run too late. We're going to start with this first question, and it is about swayback. So she wanted to know, if you took a swayback, do you go by the grain line on the lower, or how do you redraw the center back? So I want to talk for a minute about, I first wanted you to see a swayback and see what it looked like. This is what the swayback looks like. I think that's a great picture that I found. And so then I went ahead and drew the back of the t-shirt and what that looks like. And then what the correction looks like. You notice it is a dart. It's a depth issue. So we're going to take the widest part. And this drawing of this pattern, it's actually too low, but just forgive me on that. It really should be, I should have drawn it on the t-shirt. It should be above the waist. You shouldn't take it at the wrinkles. You should take it about 2 inches above those wrinkles. And so this black line on here really doesn't look the best. So just know that it should be a little higher. But anyway, the widest part is at center back. It just means that the center of your body is shorter than the side of your body. So you're going to take a dart at center back. You're going to taper to nothing at the side, just like that picture shows. And then how do you true up the back? You're going to draw a straight line from the base of the neck to the hem. You see, you're actually adding just a little bit of circumference. If you don't want that, you could take that out. You don't need to have that extra circumference, but just know that you're going to have a little bit of extra circumference when you add that back in. You could always take it out in a dart, a vertical dart. You could take it out in the side seam. You could curve the side seam in a little bit more. Or the other thing you could do, and I put it at the top there, you can redraw. I mean, once you redraw it so that you can put it on a center back on the fold, but you can stitch a seam. You can always put a center back seam. Now I know on knits typically, which is why I used a knit as an example, you typically don't want to. Just know that swaybacks happen inconsistently. They will happen when the knit is very close to your body. Swaybacks, again, will not always happen. It just depends on how close the garment is to your body, and that's when the shape of the pattern and the shape of the body have to be right on, and that's when this starts to happen. Okay, so just because you do swayback in one garment or one pattern doesn't mean you have to do swaybacks in everything. So just kind of keep that in mind. But the closer the garment is to the body, the closer, the more exact the shapes has to be. Interesting, sides are wider than center back. Oh, Anne, thank you. That was sweet. I have such a bad swayback that I take the dart and just make this seam. My husband says it's so pretty when those wrinkles are gone. I absolutely agree with that. It is very pretty when those wrinkles are gone. So yeah, to have a center back seam is not a big deal, even in a knit, in my opinion. All right, so that's number one. Let's keep going. Here we have, okay, if you need more than one rounded back adjustment, how far down the back do you put the second one? So let me go back to, I've got a picture that I drew of this, and I wanted you to see that typically if your first cut is as high as this one is, the second cut will be below it. But if your first cut is where my second cut is, then go above it. So basically what I'm saying to you is there's a bone in the back of your body, the shoulder blades. You want to stay above the shoulder blades. The shoulder blades are what's causing this issue, and improper fit or improper darting built into the pattern. The pattern is too flat for your body, so you're trying to give it more depth. So you've got to stay above those shoulder blades. If you go below those shoulder blades, you're just of zero value to what's going on. So just FYI, you want to stay above the shoulder blade, okay? So it's probably not as much as 1 inch or 2 inches, as much as it is, to staying above the shoulder blade, depending on the neckline itself. The neckline itself will make a difference. Okay, our next one is a sewing issue. She made this top. I love it. This is 124. It's Kellen's front twist top. I think it looks adorable on her. She made it out of a very inexpensive fabric, which many of us do. We kind of want to get our nerve up a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. The negative is that sometimes those cheap fabrics react differently. It's not the case here. I mean, I did tell her I felt like that the hip was not enough, and so I know it's hard to see in this picture, but I kind of had a blown up picture where there's a front little twist in that top, and where they're going to each side, they're just being pulled too tight so that they can't drape at all. What her concern is that she's got a little bit of hole there in her tummy, and she doesn't want the hole. But you can go back in and just adjust the twist, and you can tack the twist in place. You can just do either hand stitch or little stitches on the sewing machine. You can go back and completely, I'm going to say, control that twist so that nothing will show. But you've got to have enough circumference to do that. And because it looks like, to me, she's a little short on circumference, I suggested she add to the sides, and therefore the twist will have a little bit more freedom to have the manipulation that she needs, if that makes sense. But it's an adorable top on her. It really is just so cute on her. I love seeing you guys make this stuff up. Okay, let me go back to questions. Just give me 1 second. Okay, let's see. So if a rounded back, the slash is above the bottom of the shoulder blade. No, it's above the top of the shoulder blade, not the bottom. It should be above the top. When you have a shoulder blade, the garment is changing angles, so you can't go below the shoulder blade. You've got to be to the top of the shoulder blade. Okay? I can't believe I'm late. Oh, I just got here, so we were late. I mean, we were having some technical difficulties, or I shouldn't say we. I was having technical difficulties. So in panic, I called my son and said, hey, this isn't working. What am I doing wrong? And he drove over here real quick. So anyway, we got it resolved. And so don't worry about being late. Remember, we record this too, you guys. We post it back up. Okay, so that one's number 124. Let's go on to the next one. This is just really a fabric issue. The question is, she did 4,200 and she wanted to do a zip up the front, which I would love that as an option. I've done it many times as an option. The material is a medium knit, but the zipper rolls up at the bottom. So she did interface where the zipper goes, and she even took it out and put it back in, making sure she didn't pull the material. But the material is just too light. It's just, if it's rolling, it can't handle the weight of the zipper. And so basically the best thing to do, and I've got a new jacket coming out for the fall, and I love this jacket, and I bought the jacket because I wanted to see exactly how they had handled the knit. It's a knit jacket, but it's got a front zip in it, and they have an extra piece up the front, and that extra piece is not knit. It's actually a woven piece, so that when that woven gives the stability and the extra weight that knit needs. So, sorry to ramble on. What I'm saying to you is, when you've got a knit and you're putting a zipper in it, don't use a knit reinforcement. Use a woven reinforcement. And even when you use knit fusible, it's knit. So it's not giving you enough stability in that front. You want to come in with a woven piece. And that will do it. And you can just sew it in place. The new zipper, we're just sewing it in place is how we're doing it. And you've got a little 1-inch top stitch that's going on. And it's worked beautifully. I've done it a couple times now. I've made several of these jackets. One's been a jacket that had two-way stretch. And so that was an issue. But I definitely was worried about how you guys could handle putting the zipper in. Okay. I can't, for people watching on a phone, you can blow up the picture. When I make a swayback adjustment and straighten the center back seam, I end up with a V at the center back hem because the hem is longer at a right angle to the center back. I end up with a V at the center back because the hem is no longer at a right angle. Well, it shouldn't be at a right angle. So this is an interesting point, because let's go back to this picture for a minute. Oops, wrong one, sorry. When I looked up Swaybacks, I saw some people add, this red line. I didn't draw it, so you're going to have to imagine with me. The red line that's vertical, they extended it down the length of the swayback. So if you're ending up with a V once it's on your body, then you've taken out too much. Okay, so let's go back to this picture on the left, and I'm going to try to get you to visualize it. Notice if you look at the swayback, there's extra fabric. You notice the extra fabric's at the center. It's not at the side. But you notice the hem is perfectly straight. So if you take out those extra wrinkles and add it back in, it won't be right. So if your hem is not straight, or if you're getting a V, you're just being too aggressive with how much you're taking away. So you just need to, and this is not easy to do because you are, you're doing this on your own. If I were draping you, I would drape it and, do it exactly the right amount because I'm literally draping it, and then it would be fixed. You wouldn't have any V at the bottom, but the V at the bottom shows that you are over aggressively taking out what should be at center back. So I'm suspect that if you're having a V at the bottom, you're just being too aggressive. Close the chat. Oh, I don't know. You guys are talking about something else. Do you need to do any adjustment to the neckline when you do the swayback? No. No. You guys, what I want you to do is think about this for a minute. You've got a neckline, you've got a bust line, and you've got a waistline. If you had to change the waistline, you would never go in and adjust a neckline in the front. But yet, oftentimes in the back, when we do a swayback, why would we change a neckline? How is that correlated for you? If you tell me how that's correlated, I can help understand how you're thinking. But no, there's absolutely no change. They are separate parts. When you're dealing with one, it's because there's a problem at one, and you certainly wouldn't go back to another to make an adjustment. Okay? Okay, you guys are talking about, it looks like a technical issue. Okay. So I'm going to go on with the next question, which is, okay, we did the 4200 in the zipper. You want to reinforce with a woven fabric that will reinforce it. Okay, our next picture or question is she made up, this is 425. And I had actually done it like this, and so she duplicated. So what that means is she didn't do buttons, she just closed the front up. And she did it out of a bed sheet because she wanted to make sure that it would work. So the question is that she made up the size 4 because she needed the size 4 for her body, but it's too wide across the shoulders. So she's asking me, how does she narrow the shoulders? And this is, I know I've said this many, many times, you guys, I'm just going to say it again, but you've got to use your template. So create a template out of your size 4 armhole, and now take the template and the top of it, and I drew a little black line on there. The picture on the right, I shouldn't have made it black. I should have made it another color because now I'm looking at it, it's like, where's the black line? But anyway, you can see a black line on the right-hand picture. It's on the shoulder to the left-hand side. It's actually the right-hand side, but anyway, it's on your left. So you would use your template, you would move it in, you would not change the sleeve size you need, but you'd simply move it in to where you want that shoulder seam to start, or to where you want the sleeve seam to start, and then you would reconnect it to the side seam. And most of the time, as you all know, that when you move it in, it also moves up. And so all you do is you do that in the front and the back, and then you extend the side seam up to where you can manage it appropriately. So very easy to do. We have templates. You can make your own. Whatever works for you, that's what I want you to do. I use my templates all the time, just literally all the time, because I'm always taking a woven pattern and making it a knit and putting on a knit sleeve. Okay, this one is, she's working on Core's zippered top, and that's pattern number 212. I don't have a picture for this, but and Core's, just to explain this to you just a little bit, it's a boat neck and it has a zipper. So you can close this zipper up as much as you want it. Literally, it opens the zipper. There are 4 separating zippers. And I mean, I love this pattern. Zipper front on each side, zipper back on each side. No, 2 separating zippers. I'm sorry. 1 on each side. They zip in and close up as much as you want them to be. The neckline merely opens and closes. So what she's doing is she's wanting it to make it, but no zippers, which is fine. I've done it that way many times. So I'm not understanding how to do the neck hole. So what you want is you want to make the neck hole as narrow as it can be, but to get over your head. So for those of you who don't know, you just measure your head. Literally put a tape measure around your head and measure how many inches it is around. You divide that by 4, and that's how far it has to be out from center front. But it's simple enough. Like she's saying, it leaves a 12-inch opening for one's head. That's not enough, so just back it off more. That would be 6 inches on this side, 6 inches on this side. 12 and 12 is 24. If you can't get that over your head, or if it seems too small, then back that up wider. There's no secret ingredient to it. The zippers made it easy because you could just unzip it and then zip it in. But all you have to do is make it wider. You don't need all 4 pieces of the yoke. You only need the front and the back, because you can just turn it under and stitch it. The only reason there was 4 pieces is to put the zipper in between those facings. And I know for some of you who aren't familiar with the pattern, you don't know what I'm talking about. But she knows what she's doing, and I think she's probably got it by now. Okay, the next question is Jag's woven pants. It's 3414. So she's making a muslin, and the pattern tells you to overlay the pocket, so you don't need to do a pocket in the muslin unless you want to. But she's also showing where we can take the bottom of the pants and make them 16 inches to 22 inches, or we can narrow or widen the leg. Basically, the numbers don't, I don't need to get that specific, so my apologies. So what she is saying is, how far up should the pant leg be made? And the reason I didn't draw this is because this is style, and I can't tell you style. I can tell you that I make a new pattern because of pant style. Pant styling is that important. But when you're doing pant styling, you're measuring 3 parts. Those 3 parts are the thigh, the knee, and the hem. So if you're taking that and making it 22 inches and you're changing to 16, how far up should you go? I don't know. I can't tell you that. It's because you're saying you want to change the style, but then you're asking me, what style do you want me to change it to? So that's why it's impossible for me to answer this, but I do want to explain to you, wherever you got that 16 inches from, you should have the other numbers that go with a 16 inches. So if you measured a style and 16 inches is what you found you like, then you need to measure that pant, that's 16, the knee, and the thigh. And those 3 numbers, then you'll know the 16 inches, where do you go to? It may stop at the knee because you've got enough at the knee, or you may have to go to the thigh. Okay, I think that helps you. And I know and I got an email the other day where people, the lady who sent me the email said, look, she understands why I can't give opinions, because they're opinions, and I'm actually pushing you to get your own opinion, because you're not me, and I know there's things I make that you all don't like, and there's things that you make that I don't like. I don't know how else to say that. The goal is for each of us to be who we are, and I want to push you on that path of discovery, if that makes sense. Okay, let me just check back and see if we've got any responses. I love the shoulder problem on I have that shoulder problem on wovens, but not on knits. And that's okay. It depends on the pattern. It depends on how close it is to the body. Does that pattern have gathers all the way down? The 212 has gathers all the way down, yes. The yoke has, the bottom, no, the yoke doesn't have gathers. The piece that's sewn onto the yoke is gathered into the yoke. So yes, the bodice has gathers, and those gathers are all the way down, to answer that question. Okay. A question for Thursday night. Are the princess seams in 475, which, stay with me now, the princess seams in 475, Judy's blouse, and 900, the jean jacket, the same? I'm thinking of using my 475 as a muslin and transferring to changes to 900. Will it work? Probably. So they may not be exactly the same place, but they're going to be the same size and the same intensity. So yes, they are. keep in mind that anytime you have a princess seam that goes to the shoulder, you are going to get a more exact fit than if you transfer it into a yoke, which, again, this is pattern making, and you don't have to understand pattern making, but you do have to understand that 475 has a princess seam that goes from shoulder to the yoke. There's a little peplum on 475. When I'm dealing with that, and then when I'm transferring into a yoke, which is what the 900 is, I'm closing it up and then drawing the yoke line. So I don't have as much control over fit. When I'm doing that, there are some side effects that happen. Just be aware of that. Do I think you'll have any problems? No. That jean jacket, for all of you who have made that jean jacket, it fits remarkably well. So I just don't think you'll have any problem. Okay, and I've got this last one. Again, I appreciate your patience because I knew we were full and then I showed up 10 minutes late. So I really appreciate your patience. Okay, I'm a sewer, a longtime sewer who finally discovered you this year. Okay, that's not what you need to know. Okay, sorry. I'm skipping. Sorry, I should have done this. Okay, okay, so she's got a half-inch forward shoulder adjustment on the bodice. When creating the armhole template, should I extend the back armhole by ½ inch and reduce the front? Yes. Yes. So let me interpret this. I'm sorry, you guys. So what she's asking is, she's making the pattern. She's doing pattern 900. That's a jean jacket, and she's found that she has to have a forward shoulder. So she's making the back forward. She's taking off the front. She's changing the sleeve. Should she build that into her template? Yes. Absolutely. That is the purpose of that template, is to, I mean, there's obviously many purposes, but the main purposes are to already know what you like. The sleeve already fits. You can control where you place it. You can control where it is. You've got all the controls. That's the goal. Okay? All right. So that was our last question. Let me look back and see what else we've got here. My dress is like the woman who used a sheet. I have a vertical fold, same place. However, my sleeve is a grown-on sleeve. Well, I do not know how to interpret that. A grown-on sleeve. I don't know what that means. But keep in mind, you guys, always just take a picture. The pictures are, we've said this many times, pictures are worth 1,000 words. Look at this swayback. That is a swayback. Everybody knows that's a swayback. So just take a picture and send it to me, and then we'll fix it. All right? So there's a couple things I want to leave you with. Number one, that pre-sale for that, well, there are actually 2 pre-sales now that I mention it. The pre-sale for the white knit that I have on, it's lovely. It's a hemp. It's beautiful. And then also the ironing mats through Sunday. And I'm telling you why I did the ironing mats. You guys may think, why didn't you do an ironing board cover? Because the ironing mat is so much cheaper. And you can just take the ironing mat and you can lay it right on your ironing board. You don't need an ironing board cover. It will stay in place because you can put it's so big that you can put it under your iron. So I thought, why get an ironing board cover when this works for both an ironing mat on your ironing board and it rolls up and travels with you. So it does a dual thing. So I was thinking, this is way better than getting the ironing board cover, because the iron board cover doesn't travel. This has foam in it and it actually travels with you. So anyway, I just thought that was a great concept, and I was, you know, the lady who does this has been, she was my when I did trade shows and she did trade shows, she was my neighbor for a long time. So she's a wonderful person. She's got a wonderful product, and I've been after her to sell me these things for literally decades, and she wouldn't do it. So I'm really thrilled that she's going to. Okay. Grown-on sleeve. Oh, as a kimono. Oh, okay. Thank you, you guys. I did not know that expression. I appreciate that. So that's a whole different situation. A kimono sleeve. When you have a kimono sleeve, because you have no seam, it doesn't matter where you put the shoulder. You don't need a template. You've got, you know, it's not going to make a difference. So entirely set of differences when you're doing an armhole template. You do not need an armhole template with a kimono. There's no armhole. Okay. Okay. Anything else I can answer for you tonight, you guys? 8375. That was the one I was trying to get to. 8375. That is the that beautiful white template. And then get your ironing board cover. Get your ironing board cover because we're going to order them on Monday. So it stops on Sunday night. We'll know how many to order. You guys are the best. Do you know that? You're the absolute best. Everybody's good. I know the rains, fortunately, have slowed here in Texas. They were just way too many, but like I said, it's beautiful and green outside. But there are many, many, many who are really suffering terribly. So that is the unfortunate but true reality to what's going on. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. We're good. So we'll say goodnight. We'll say goodnight. We'll say the goal is to get sewing. Tomorrow's, we've got those fabrics. And tomorrow's the last day. I think my tiny dot, the one I have on, I don't know, what's this number? Let me look real quick. Or maybe I put it up separately. I love this blouse. It's the little baby dot. No, I put it up. It's 83.68. Oh, it's a little tank top, and then I added some length to it and put in waist, gathers at the waist. It's so cute. All right, you guys. Later. Y'all know I love you, and we will see you Tuesday night. All right? Bye.